We are back with you live once again on another Johnnie Torch live broadcast. Happy New Year 2020, our first broadcast of the new year, as well as the new decade. Yeah, we took a couple of weeks off from doing live shows, but I hope you weren't too lonely. I left you with a few pre-recorded videos. We did the top 10 writing rules by Johnnie Torch last week. No views. Every time I try to do something like that, like educational, it doesn't go very far. I don't think you guys want to be educated. You don't want that old edumacation, huh? You want to be entertained. I thought it was entertaining, so check it out if you haven't, and according to my analytics, nobody has. Yeah, check out last week's video, and you might be pleased. You might be pleasantly surprised. But if you saw the thread on Twitter that I made of it, you might already know pretty much what it's about. That might have something to do with it. Also, we did a slightly more popular video, which was my review of Batman 66 meets Wonder Woman 77, the comic, the graphic novel. Yeah, that really wasn't that enjoyable, in my opinion, that book, I mean. But, you know, to each their own. So we haven't really had too much news to cover, otherwise I probably would have done a video. But the news was very scarce. You know, it's the holidays. Nobody's really out there trying to break stories, and really wasn't much to talk about. So don't feel like you've missed anything in the holiday hiatus during Christmas and New Year's that the Torch News Roundup had undergone. We're doing the show. Yeah, I want to watch the playoffs tonight, the NFL playoffs, of course, big NFL fan, so we're going to try to get through this pretty fast. There's not too many stories we're going to cover, and then we're going to rank my top 6. There was 6 movies I saw in theaters last year. Actually 7, because I saw Aquaman in January, not when it came out in December, but we're not going to count that because I included that in last year's countdown. Also, I'm not doing, last year I did both back-to-back. I did the ranking and the films that I'm looking forward to. This year, though, I didn't see Rise of Skywalker yet. So I don't know if I'm going to put that in with this. I think I might let the Rise of Skywalker be in the video next year for the movies that I've seen for this year. You know what I mean? Because I gotta have some more content for the show today, and you know, I can't wait until next week when I see Rise of Skywalker to do this. Everybody else probably already did their video around New Year's, so I got to get mine done. But also, apologies in advance. I got 5.5 hours sleep last night. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of mistakes, slip-ups, quite probably. So be be judicious in your forgiveness. Forgiveness is divine. Okay, so we have a lot of things to touch on here. I'll give the usual spiel. First of all, check the link in the description below for my comic, The Adventures of Bullet's Bourbon Private Eye, the all-ages action-adventure series about a down-on-his-luck private eye that takes on the most colorful collection of villains imaginable. In each and every issue, another thrill, another adventure, and another exciting, heart-palpitating, what do they usually say, soul-shattering experience. So be sure to check that out, and I'm getting back to work now on the remaster of the first issue, which has been going pretty slowly, pretty difficultly, because again, as I've said before, the first issue was the learning experience for me. I had no idea how to put together a comic book, and so me trying to get it into ship shape, there's only so much you can do to try to, you know, keep it consistent with the other books, which, of course, I pretty much learned from my mistakes in the first book. But that's the way it is. Somebody's trying to hail a cab outside. I don't know. It is what it is, as they say. But I'm very pleased with it, the way it's coming along so far. It's just a lot of work. And Also check the link in the description below for our Twitter page. Now we have a Poll of the Week question. If you've been following, you might have already voted on it if you're a follower of mine on Twitter. But the question is, this is the all-important question. Don't stop, fill in the blank. Feels like the match game. Don't stop, me now, believin', or till you get enough. Those are your choices. So head on over to, I'm going to retweet it right now as a matter of fact so that it'll be at the top of the page when you go there. Vote on, it's a music poll. You know the songs. Queen's Don't Stop Me Now, Journey's Don't Stop Believin', and of course Michael Jackson, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And vote. Let me know what is the best Don't Stop song. Right now, in third place with 9.1% of the vote is Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And the number 2 spot with 18.2% of the vote is Don't Stop Me Now. And so far, with an overwhelming 72.7%, it's Don't Stop Believin' by Journey. Not unexpected. I really thought that was going to win. But you have 5 days, if you're watching this live, you have 5 days to get in there and vote. And just a fun little poll to start the year. This is not one of our, not one of those real big head scratchers. We got 11 votes, and we certainly need some more. So head on over to my Twitter page, and you can check that out. All right, we are also excited as we talk about the Adventures of Bullets Bourbon Private Eye, the action-adventure series. We are now unveiling the Johnnie Torch Fortune and Glory 2020 New England Comic-Con Tour. That's right. Last year was the Coffee is for Closers World Tour. And the year before that was the Who Wants to Walk with Johnnie Torch tour. So, as per my tradition, I'm coming up with a name for each and every Comic-Con tour that I hit. This tour this year for 2020 is called Fortune and Glory, Kid. Fortune and Glory. That, of course, is the intent of my comic book career, as I'm sure it is for many comic book creators. Let's see. We have one tour date already confirmed. It's been confirmed this morning, so I want to make sure I, get these dates confirmed before I get everybody's hopes up that I'm going to appear here. I've got a couple others in the works that you should be hearing about pretty soon, but of course check my Twitter page for the latest updates. Check my website. I got the link in the description below as well for that. And either way, I'm pretty sure you're going to find out what the latest dates are. I only did 3 last year. I think I did 4 the year before, and I did 1 the year before that. Is that what I did? Can't even remember. It's all a blur. But I'm going to try to do a bunch this year. I'm going to try to do some of the smaller venues. But the first one we got is, because I feel like I'm going to sort of the same places all the time, and I kind of want to hit some other venues, some smaller venues, some other venues that are like libraries and out of the way a little more. But we are going to be returning to KidsCon this year for our 3rd big appearance. It's always a good show, a lot of fun, a lot of kids. It's all about the kids. Johnnie Torch loved the kids. And we have a lot of fun marketing the book to kids. It's an all-ages book. It's not juvenile in any fashion. It's not meant to be written down to children, so I don't want anybody to get that impression, because a lot of material, particularly these days, but I think throughout history, that's marketed for kids, it's sort of dumbed down. It's Teen Titans Go type stuff, and that is not what I'm interested in. That's not what I do. And I write for all ages, and the thing, if you listened to the video last week, that's part of the thing. It's trying to make your work accessible to all ages. You don't want to, make something rated R where it doesn't really need to be, and you want to be able to involve the kids and the older folks. So that's important to me. But we'll be returning to KidsCon Sunday, June 14th at the Radisson Hotel in Nashua, New Hampshire. Nice venue. I like that place. We'll be there from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on our third big appearance, and I will be looking forward to seeing everyone there at New Hampshire's greatest family-friendly event. You can check my website in the description below, and you'll get all the information there. I've got a link to KidsCon there, so you can check out all the attractions they'll be having as they list them. And like I said, yeah, it's a great place. I really enjoy there, and I get to see a lot of cool people there too. Last year, met some more real cool folks that you know, are also you know, doing their thing, plying their craft or plying their trade or whatever it may be. Cosplayers, you know, artists and writers. It's a very fun con. It's a good experience. If you haven't you know, ever been there before, I would encourage you to check it out. And as I said, check the link in the description below for any updates, any further updates in the Johnnie Torch 2020 Fortune and Glory New England Comic-Con tour. Alright, so wrong button. Here we go. Let us get to our next feature, which is Mailbag. Yes, we got a Mailbag segment here because we didn't do a video for a couple of weeks, so I got a bunch of comments lined up here that we didn't get to yet, and we are going to try to get to them. Alright, we have from 3 weeks ago, Dax Rider 123 commented on my Torch's soapbox. This is a very popular soapbox, which is in defense of George Lucas and the Star Wars prequels. It's kind of dated now. It came out right after The Force Awakens. But it was a great video, and it got a lot of popularity on my channel. And in that video, I said that Plinkett's reviews are worthless. Don't even bother bringing them up if you want to, you know, criticize the Phantom Menace or any of those movies. Dax seems to have taken issue with that, saying, Plinkett reviews worthless? Really? I mean, yeah, there are good things in the prequels, yet most of the observations in those reviews are very accurate and demonstrated with high amounts of footage. Tossing this aside with it's worthless is pretty lame, dude. Alright, so thank you for the comment, first of all, Dax Rider 123. You know, I don't mind hearing criticism, you know, or something like that. What I said in the video was, don't use that as the default go-to. Because at that time, anyway, at around, what year did The Force Awakens come out? Anytime you defended the Phantom Menace or the prequels, it was always, watch Mr. Plinkett's reviews. Nobody could really speak for themselves. And I'm a big proponent of speak for yourself. You know what I mean? Don't just throw it off on, watch Mr. Plinkett's reviews. He lays the whole case out right there. So for one thing, I resent being told to watch somebody else's reviews. If you can't converse with me and tell me why you dislike something, you know, you shouldn't be trying to do shorthand on conversation. You know, just give me a legitimate reason. So that was kind of where it was coming from. As far as me calling them worthless, though, I watched the Phantom Menace one, and it's like a 4-part extravaganza. Of course, you have to be in tune, I guess, with Plinkett's sense of humor or whatever, as being some kind of drunken degenerate or something. I don't know. I mean, for starters, that didn't enamor me, but most of the complaints he leveled were sort of, you know, this is boring, I don't like this, why are they telling me about trade disputes, and I want to get to see some of the action, why is Yoda just sitting there on the chair? I mean, I can't remember the whole thing, I haven't watched them in 5 or 6 years, but that's basically the you know, the tenor of the complaints. Is basically just him, like, moaning and groaning about, well, this isn't the way I wanted it because I'm bored. I don't know. I mean, you got to look at the content of the story, because it's very easy to say, oh, well, folks are doing that with the sequel trilogy. Last Jedi got people doing the same thing, moaning and groaning. I don't like it. I don't like it. But the reason why The Last Jedi is so hated is the character assassination of Luke Skywalker, the star of the movies. And I don't care, you know, the star of the films is not Han Solo. The star of the films is not Princess Leia. The star of the films is Luke Skywalker, and when you take a massive dump on his character, like was done in The Last Jedi, you're going to have some disgruntled fans. It's different than the prequels, which is like, this is boring, and the acting's not so good, and I don't like a storyline, you know, revolving around the Trade Federation and 9-year-old Anakin, and that's the story that Lucas chose to tell, and that's kind of what I was saying in that soapbox, is that Lucas chose to tell that story, and he has every right to tell that story. In the case of The Last Jedi, fans are not going to take to, as I said, I don't want to repeat myself, but a character that's beloved as Luke Skywalker, and having him be completely deconstructed and assassinating his character. There were very few people who were long-term fans that were going to approve of that. Now, again, I haven't seen Rise of Skywalker, so I will reserve judgment on maybe if they could have amended some of that. I'm hearing some of it that they did. I mean, I read all the spoilers, so there's very little that will surprise me in the movie. But yeah, by the way, I'm going to see Rise of Skywalker with the whole family on Tuesday, so you can expect a review on Wednesday. It'll probably be the latest review of any YouTuber out there that is out there. But hey, you know, don't put movies out in December if you want my attention, because word to the wise, I got too much to do. Okay, before we get to the next mailbag, we got a question from Hunter Iggy. Thank you for joining us, Hunter. We haven't seen you in quite a while here. Thank you for joining us. Hunter says, do you think Vic Mignogna will make a great Dr. Fate for the Black Adam movie? Yes, that didn't occur to me, but yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I would love to see Vic play Dr. Fate. That would sound really cool. I'm hoping that Dr. Fate will be in the movie. That's another story. I didn't get any copy for it, but apparently that Hawkgirl is confirmed to be in the Black Adam movie. That's cool. I'm pretty sure a couple others. I think Dr. Fate is one of them that will show up in the Black Adam movie. So hopefully, yeah, I would love to see Vic. He's a good actor. He's underrated because he's mostly a voice actor. But he played Captain Kirk in the Star Trek Continues series, which it was my introduction to him, because I'm not really a big anime guy. But yeah, I mean, he really embodied that character of Captain Kirk without going into William Shatner parody territory. So yeah, I think he's a talented actor. I'd love to see him get the role. So thank you for the question, Hunter. And going back to the mailbag, we got a few more questions here, and of course I've got the chat room open. If anybody else has any other questions, or if anybody wants to leave a comment below, I will read these comments in subsequent videos. Dr. Huge Stein 2 weeks ago said of our Johnnie Torch Live number 184, the Black Widow trailer reaction, good show, man. Thank you, Dr. Huge Stein, and check out Dr. Huge Stein's channel. He is like one of the premier guys covering wrestling. So if you're a wrestling fan, you've got to check out Dr. Huge Stein. I really enjoy his show. I've been taking a sabbatical from wrestling for a while, so I haven't watched him in a couple of weeks. I know, sad, but yeah, he's got a great channel. He's got a great show, and he'll cover all the wrestling shows, because I know there's a lot of them now. I dipped out because of the holidays. Too much stuff going on, which is why I'm not seeing Rise of Skywalker until next week. But I got a lot of stuff going on in December. I got decorating, I got shopping, I got two sisters' birthdays, Christmas, New Year's. I got too much stuff in December. I don't got time to keep up with the wrestling. I don't got time to keep up with much. I barely held on in order to see Crisis on Infinite Earths and follow that while it was happening. So be sure you check out Dr. Huge Stein. We also have a bunch of new subscribers. We've got 8 new subscribers. Unfortunately, they don't all come up in my comments, you know. I don't get the notifications. Butcher the Silence is one of the new subs that we have, and I want to welcome him to the channel. Thank you for joining us. And let's see, another channel that has joined the club and subscribed is All Toys Unboxed. And I'm very happy to have subscribed to them, so go check out their channel. They said, cool channel, new friends here, we followed and subscribed. So thank you very much, All Toys Unboxed. And as you could tell from the name of the channel, they unbox toys, and they do a very good job of showing you what is going on with each and every toy. Let's see, and we have one more here. I know this is taking a lot longer than I expected. Dante Light, 5 hours ago, left a comment on our Wonder Woman TV show review and retrospective, another very popular video I have. He says they were missing the Cheetah in the series. Forsythia was cool. She probably would have been a good Cheetah herself. Yeah, I mentioned that in the video, that they didn't do any of the comic villains, really. They did the Frank Gorshin version of the Toyman, I guess. I don't think he was really ever called the Toyman, but he kind of resembled what I guess was the Silver Age Toyman. But apart from that, yeah, they did Forsythia, which I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. I remember when I did the video, I had to phonetically learn that word, because it basically means, I don't know, the study of ants or something. But they had her. It was a very bizarre episode. People kind of didn't like it, I think, but it was a good episode in that they had her as a sort of as an equal to Wonder Woman, you know, and she had sort of her Cheetah in Forsythia. But yeah, I would have loved to have seen the Cheetah in the show, you know, versus Wonder Woman. Yeah, so thank you, Dante Light. Thank you, everyone who has joined us and subscribed to the channel. And let's see. Hunter Iggy has another question. He says, who would you cast as Isis, the wife of Black Adam, and Atom Smasher, and Hawkgirl, and Hawkman, and Stargirl? All right, let's see. That is difficult because there's a lot of those characters, you know, a lot of those actors I would need to have to think up. So I'm going to have to think about that for a while. I know there's going to be a Stargirl TV show, and I know they probably want to keep them separate. You know, continuities separate. But the actress playing Stargirl, I seen the trailer, and I meant to do a video about that as well. But I didn't get time to review it, really. But I'll see if I can do that maybe next week. And I'll see if I can come up with some names for you for these characters. But, you know, in the meantime, let me know who you think. And, you know, let me know, and I'll talk about that next week as well. You know, guys, give me your suggestions for Hawkman and Hawkgirl. I know it's tough because they race change a lot of the characters, a lot of the redheads. I want to see Hawkgirl be a real genuine redhead this time. I know the actress they had for, what was it, The Flash, I think she was introduced on, was not a redhead. I know I would like that. For Hawkman, I would like to see a real brawny guy. You know, I mean, you know, like The Rock, you know, someone that would probably be able to stand toe-to-toe with The Rock, another, you know, big brawny guy. I could tell you that much. Isis and Atom Smasher, I don't know. I don't have anything right now, but yeah, I'll think about it. I'll bring this up again next week, Hunter. You show up next week, and I'll see if I can come up with a couple of names. All right, so are we all done with the mailbag? Yeah, I got all the names. So thank you again if you've subscribed, if you've just subscribed. Thank you for joining the channel, and we will talk about a couple of these things here while I still have the time. When do the games go on? The games go on 4:30, I think, right here, Eastern Standard Time. So, yeah, I might miss the first quarter. Let's put it that way. But I got to see the Patriots. That, you know, that's my team. So, you know, we got to see the Patriots. All right, we're going to talk first here about the Birds of Prey. No, it's not Birds of Prey. What are they calling this show again? Green Arrow and the Black Canaries. That's what they're calling it. We have the synopsis for the show, I guess the first issue of the show. first issue, the first episode. Okay. According to the officially released synopsis, it's the year 2040 in Star City, and Mia Queen has everything she could have ever wanted. However, when Laurel and Dinah suddenly show up in her life again, things take a shocking turn, and her perfect world is upended. Laurel and Dinah are tracking a kidnapping victim with direct ties to Mia, and they need her help. Knowing it will change everything, Mia can't help but be a hero, and she, Laurel, and Dinah suit up once again to save the city. Alright, this sounds very different than what I was expecting. They're going back to 2040, which I think is a mistake. I really don't want to see old Black Canaries again, and of course, you know, they did a good job with the age makeup and so on and so forth, but also the interconnectivity of the shows is going to be in question again. I thought that was the purpose of Crisis on Infinite Earths, was to bring them all together, all the shows, and have them sort of interact on a more regular basis, and not say Supergirl is on this Earth and Black Lightning is on this Earth and so on and so forth. So it sounds like you're going to put distance between the shows again if you're going to put this show 20 years into the future. Again, the story doesn't really sound all that impressive. They're going to try to find a kidnapped person, which is probably going to be William, because he's sort of like the sad sack of the show. I don't know. I feel bad that they kind of made him so soy. I mean, I don't have a problem with the actor. It's just that that's the part they've given him. And it's like, I don't know. He just seems ineffectual? Is that the word? Is that the term? I don't know. And also that Mia has this perfect life. Now, what does that mean? She's going to end up getting with Connor, maybe, or something? I don't know. That's kind of the only relationship she's had in this show so far. I don't know. The episode airs on July 21st and is directed by Tara Mealy from a script by Arrow showrunner Beth Schwartz and co-creator, executive producer Mark Guggenheim, Jill Blankenship, Oscar Balderrama. Plans for a spin-off series were first announced last August, and it will be interesting to see whether things move forward from here. Alright, so let me know what you think. Is this interesting to you? Do you think that maybe... I like the concept of like a Black Canary sort of Birds of Prey show, but I don't know. You know, I guess that's the only way they could do it, is if they put it in the future, because... No, why would that be the only way they could do it, right? I mean, can't they just, like, carry on after Oliver's gone? Oliver and Felicity are going to be gone, so what's the point of sending them back to the... But then again, yeah, they'll be in the past with their infant selves. Well, me as an infant, not William. I don't know. It's just food for thought. We'll see how it goes. All right, our next story, we got a little story here about... WandaVision. WandaVision, let's see, with filming already underway, this, let's see, I'm scanning the copy, wait a second. Disney Plus has now confirmed that Marvel Studios' WandaVision will debut in 2020, not spring of 2021, as previously announced. However, it remains to be seen whether the new series will debut before or after fellow Marvel series The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is also currently filming and is slated for a late 2020 launch. I kind of thought it was weird that they were putting this one off so far into the future. The thing is, I would imagine that this movie, I keep calling it a film movie, this series is probably going to need more special effects, I would think, than Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you know, based on like the Captain America Russo films, it's probably going to be just like an espionage, like crime thriller. I don't think they need a lot of special effects. You got Falcon's rocket pack there or whatever, and you got the robot arm, which is probably going to take some special effects. But I would imagine if this is going to be sort of a bizarre world where we have Vision and everybody else, they probably going to need a bigger, lead-in time to get this all, squared away with the visual effects. I could be wrong. Maybe this whole series is just going to be the sitcom parody that we've been hearing. It's like going to be a 50s sitcom parody. Make room for Vision or something like that. Let's see, the upcoming series will star Marvel veterans Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany as the Scarlet Witch and the Vision, respectively, with a supporting cast consisting of Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau, Kat Dennings as Darcy Lewis, Randall Park as Jimmy Woo, and Katherine Hahn as, quote-unquote, the nosy neighbor. Jack Sheffer is serving as showrunner for the freshman season, which will run for 6 episodes. Very interesting. I am curious about this stuff. I think they also have to move these shows up, because with The Mandalorian done, I think a lot of people are going to be canceling their subs, and what are they going to do? You know, they got nothing new to really give fans yet, particularly in the Marvel realm. But yeah, let me know what you think about WandaVision. Alright, and next we have, oh yes, Margot Robbie news, with Birds of Prey on the wing and coming out very shortly. I almost sound like a radio DJ from it there, right? Very shortly, we have Birds of Prey coming up. Yeah, not bad. During a new interview with Variety, the highly in-demand actress revealed that Leto's incarnation of the character doesn't appear, not even as a cameo. Ooh. That's kind of disappointing to me. I know Leto is probably the least best, to put it generously, the least best Joker in live action. But I don't know. I mean, I don't really think it was all his fault. I think with some better direction, I mean, this could very well just be a, you know, Edward Norton sort of like butting heads with the director and kind of wanting to do his own thing. Louis Leterrier, I think, was the director on The Incredible Hulk. It could be something like that. I mean, it could be that maybe Leto's version is the one they used in Suicide Squad, and it really wasn't that great. But you know, maybe Leto really still has it in him to play a good Joker, and they just got to give him that leeway now to like play it the way he wants to play it. I don't know. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but I mean, Leto's an Oscar-winning actor. I can't honestly see where it's entirely on him that it didn't work. I mean, it was the whole concept of the tats and the grill and the shirtless suits, and you know, it just didn't really scream Joker to anybody. And sort of, you know, maybe if he just backed down a little bit on that sort of image, it would have worked. But anyway, let's see. She comments also on Joaquin Phoenix's take on the iconic DC Comics villain. He did a phenomenal job. She makes it clear that Birds of Prey will be a very different film, despite the R rating. I feel like the Joker film was much more grounded, she says. Ours is different. It's heightened. And that's good, because I prefer it to be heightened, which we'll talk about the Joker movie in a couple of minutes. There was set snaps, obviously implying that someone would be filling in for Leto as the Joker, unless that scene winds up being cut, but now it seems clear that the actor is done with the role. Well, I don't know, you know, I don't think nothing is set in stone right now, but it does kind of look that way. Of course, Leto was off filming Morbius, which I believe is still in, I don't know, is it in post-production now, or is it still in production? I'm not sure. I was looking it up the other day to see if there's anything on it I could report, but nothing really new has come out from that. They're not really getting on the hype train on that as of yet. I think they're going to wait till Venom 2 comes out. Then they'll probably start, you know, doing that. So, unfortunately, yeah, that's about it for the news. Let us get now to our ranking the 6 movies I saw in 2019. Yes. Alright, we're going to start off with number 6. Number 6 was Aladdin. This was not a terrible movie, but it was kind of problematic. I mean, I never gave this one a proper review. I did talk about it on a Torch News Roundup. I can't remember where, but if you want a brief, proper review of this, I'll go into it. The music was very good. They kept very much to the sound of the original score. You know, those great songs by Menken, and I believe it was what was that guy's name? I can't remember now, but yeah, it was the guy that filled in for Menken and no, Ash, right? I don't know. Anyway, it was the classic score, so the songs ended up being pretty good. Will Smith did a pretty good job as the genie. You know, you give him a thankless job in trying to replace the great Robin Williams. I mean, Robin Williams was a one-of-a-kind talent. I don't think anybody would, you know, would dare try to, you know, say that they could actually fill his shoes. But Will Smith was, you know, he kind of made it his own while still recalling some of the feeling of the Robin Williams performance. He did pretty good. I can't remember the lead actor's name. He was pretty good. He did pretty good. And Jean Scott, is that her name? As Jasmine. She was the standout. I thought she was very good. The politically correctness did completely ruin the last act. They gave Jasmine this weird, you know, girl power song, which, I don't know, she had to stand up to Jafar, and they really, oh, I don't want to say what they did, but I don't want to use vulgarity. But let's say they kind of emasculated the film at the end, where it was just basically one big wild chase action scene or something. It really didn't have the cleverness of the original. I thought the Jafar actor was awful. He was the worst part of the movie. But yeah, you know, I mean, is it worth a watch? Yeah, if you got nothing else to do, you know, with the kids, you know, go ahead, give it a watch. But again, I would rather watch the original. You know, watch the original again if you have the choice. You know, that's a classic. That'll never get old. You know, that's kind of my problem with these Disney live-action remakes. It's a fad, sort of, to just, you know, generate more income. You know, I mean, for Disney. And when it's seen as the cash grab that it is, that'll probably fall out of favor, but it's really unneeded. We really don't need the live-action Aladdin movie when the original is by far superior. Alright, so let me consult my notes and see what's next. Let's see. Alright, so that was number 6. Number 5, we have Spider-Man Far From Home. Now, this is also a problem. Now, I really wanted to rewatch these movies. I did purchase Spider-Man Far From Home, even though I said this is the film that broke me. Honestly, it's the film that broke me. I am pretty much done with, you know, if you're not going to be respectful to the source material, I think I'm done. And this is the film that gave me that decision. Excuse me. And I want to see it again. Like I said, I picked up the DVD on the cheap for whatever it was, like $12 or something. And I want to see it again and see if my opinion feels the same. But there are some things to like. I did like Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. He did a pretty good job. Tom Holland, again, as I always say, nothing against the actor. He is a good Peter Parker. He's a solid Spider-Man. He's got the best parts of Spider-Man and Peter Parker down pat. He's got sort of the everyman look for Peter. Not just physically, but I mean the sort of the attitude. And he has the, you know, the sort of witty and somewhat quippy, you know, style of Spider-Man. But this film just failed to live up. A lot of the humor in the middle of the film was dumb. The whole drone scene, I think, is going to go down as one of the worst scenes in Spider-Man film history. We have the first half of the movie was pretty dull, pretty boring, without very much action, no Spider-Man action, really. Then we get him in the Spider-Monkey costume, or whatever it was, and we still didn't really get a good Spider-Man scene. It's kind of, like I said, I complained with that with Spider-Man 2, and I think I complain about it just as much here. I think you need to give us more Spider-Man if you're going to pretend to be a Spider-Man movie. Tough words, but true. We got J.K. Simmons in a cameo at the end, which was cool. Zendaya as MJ, quote-unquote, also continues to annoy me. They're setting them two up to be the, you know, the Peter Parker and Mary Jane of the Spider-Man Disney franchise. and she does not look or feel at all like Mary Jane. Very disappointing. Again, a lot of ties to Tony Stark. This was the follow-up to Endgame. So, in a way it's expected, in a way it's necessary, but again, I don't know. There's too much reliance on Tony Stark, and hopefully going forward they'll move past that. I still think I prefer this film to Homecoming. I think that's an unpopular statement, but I don't know. I think I still do. I probably should watch both of them back to back. On the one hand, you had the great Michael Keaton in Homecoming, and he was a great Vulture. I think, though, his character was too derivative of Norman Osborn, and that's kind of what that didn't sit well with me. I didn't like that. But story-wise, I think this was a little bit more of an ambitious story. I think it was a little bit better than Homecoming, which was Homecoming was just sort of going over old ground again that we'd gone over with several Spider-Man films up to that point. I still say that The Amazing Spider-Man is the worst Spider-Man movie of all time thus far, although that's basically just because of the tone. I mean, there's still some good things in that film, but I think this film, as I said, it still is somewhat in tone with the way Spider-Man was in the comics. It's just not really a good movie, but let's just, we'll move on. That was number 5. Number 4, we have Captain Marvel. Now, this is the one movie I think I did rewatch since seeing it in theaters. And basically, it's not horrible, but it's, like, dull. I was really hoping for something that was really going to make me sit up and take notice, because that's kind of like, like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, I didn't know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was like, look, prove it to me. Show me that this is worth my time. And while I didn't love Guardians of the Galaxy, a lot of people have that in their top 5. To me, it's like maybe a 9 or 10 or 11 on the best Marvel movies or something. But, it made me say, all right, you're a worthy addition. You're a worthy addition to the legacy here. Captain Marvel, it just felt like it never got into high gear. It felt like there was a lot more story that should have been told that really didn't get told. I mean, they were trying to, at parts, make it the, Guardians-esque space opera. Then they're trying to make it sort of a 90s, although, to be honest with you, it kind of felt more to me like a 70s type, TV-style actioner, like Rockford Files or something, with her and Nick Fury on the road and stuff. And then there was the other part of it that it was the, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar. And I don't think all three of those things meshed very well. Brie Larson was good. I thought she was good. I didn't really have a problem with her. I think she does have sort of the character traits of the Carol Danvers in the comics, but again, they didn't really make me care about Carol in this. Because I liked Ms. Marvel in the 90s and the 90s and earlier. She was a compelling character, but they really don't make her endearing. It's just like, as I said in my review, and I think that's probably one of the best reviews I did, because I listened to some of it after I seen it the second time, and I still stand by a lot of what I said in that original review, which is, we don't get an emotional attachment to Carol. She hasn't lost anything. It's like, she didn't really have a good childhood. She's not friends. She doesn't have many friends. She has one friend and an adopted niece, sort of, and that's not a whole lot to hang your hat on. She doesn't really have her father and mother and brother in her life, apparently. And then when you go to her Kree buddies there, she really, even at one point, one of them said that, she said, I never liked you, or something like that. And they don't really have any compunction to kill her when commanded. I think even Jude Law's character, Vox, I think his name is, he he's kind of more disappointed than conflicted that she was a compatriot for any given amount of time. That, you know, I don't know how long it's been, 6 years I think it was. So again, it just feels like they could have reached for more drama. They could have reached for some connectivity, that this is a woman that lost both worlds. She's a child of both worlds and lost both. I didn't really feel that sense from her. It's just like she's like ticked off at the Kree for stealing her life. She's ticked off with like mankind for treating her like, you know, like the chauvinist pigs, the sexist pigs that they were. I mean, you know, they could have made this a much more deeper and compelling movie had they just taken off the SJW bullet points and not worried about, you know, getting that SJW message out there. And that's why this film didn't resonate with a lot of people. It did very well, but I mean, I don't think it resonated with a lot of people because Carol didn't get to be that anchor that you want to, you know, sort of rally around the way like Tony Stark. I mean, he was a flawed character. People still loved him because why? They wanted to root for him. I don't think a lot of people really felt that for Carol Danvers in this movie. But hopefully the sequel will be much better. And yeah, we went a long time on this one. Let's move on. That is number 4. Number 4. All right, so let's see. Number 3, we have. Let's see. Oh, gee. Of course, I didn't get an image ready for this. Let me talk amongst yourselves for just a second while I pick up an image here to. That's what happens when you are not prepared. You don't prepare yourself properly, and it's a sad thing. All right, so. This is the only image I could find here, but hey, in my swath of GIFs and images, yeah, Avengers Endgame, yeah, that's kind of a low ranking, right? Number 3. This was supposed to be the greatest superhero epic of all time, and so on and so forth. Like I said, I would like to have watched it a second time before giving this ranking, I suppose, but you know, who knows when I'm going to get to it. Suffice to say, it was a decent movie. I still like Infinity War more, I think. I think Thanos is better in this film, but again, I don't want to really belabor the point, but a lot of things that were said, you know, about this film, I think are true, such as like the Hulk was ruined. They really, really did a number on the Hulk, and that's my favorite character. A lot of plot holes and nonsensical stuff that really, if I took the time to go through, I would probably get a migraine. To the point that the Russo brothers were going on and on for at least 3 months after the movie came out, trying to set it straight on what they were actually trying to say. I hated the death of Black Widow. I don't know. Supposedly they're going to try to bring her back according to rumor, but again, I thought that was a worthless death. The final fate of Captain America, again, was disappointing. I don't see why he would be that selfish to go back and alter the life of Peggy Carter. And it's just, the shippers have gone out of control. That's the problem. Everything now has to be a ship. And the Cap and Peggy ship had to be placated with Cap going back to Peggy. Captain America should not have been... that's not in his character. He should not have been desirous of going back in time with Peggy because he realizes he's a man of duty, he's a man of honor. I don't see him doing that. I hate Tony Stark dying. I know that they wanted Robert Downey Jr. to go out on his shield and have the curtain call, "Good night, sweet prince." But again, I am of the mind, I don't believe that the hero is supposed to die. If the hero dies, it's because it's the next generation, and that you've passed the torch. And I mean, it's sort of like, well, if the prequels came out before the original trilogy, people would be like, "Oh my gosh, that's how Obi-Wan dies. He was the star of those movies." But see, that's not really the case. He wasn't the star. That's why you can have him sort of die in a, you know, 3/4 of the way through a movie. You know, it's like, it's the same thing. But here, it's like, he was basically the face of the Marvel universe. The Marvel Cinematic Universe, at any rate. I don't see killing him as a good thing. You know what I mean? You have to allow the hero to ride off into the sunset. You can't always, you know, make the noble sacrifice. Yeah, I guess I'll just leave it at that. But it was underwhelming to a point. I don't know. I have to see it again to see if this changes my mind. But I wasn't too thrilled with the way it went out overall. So again, there you have it. Number 3 is, let's see, Avengers Endgame. All right, what do we have for number 2? Number 2. Number 2 was Shazam. Yes, Shazam. I really enjoyed this film. I did. I'm not sure, really, you know, because it wasn't a flawless film either, but I think it was a lot of fun. That's what I liked about it. I think it did well. It did right by the Shazam universe. You know what I mean? The Shazam universe, we needed to get into it and get acclimated to it, and I think this was the right way to go around it, or to go about it. We started with Dr. Sylvana. You know, we made him a fearsome but not necessarily overly dangerous character. We did sort of the big comparisons of a kid getting the powers of a grown man. You know, it just felt like it was easily digestible. Let's put it that way. I think that was what was the best thing about it. They did the Marvel family, which I guess is now called the Shazam family. Which I thought they also did pretty well. All the characters are well realized. I didn't really like the subplot with the mother being a ne'er-do-well. I kind of feel like, I don't know if that was in the comics. I don't remember that being in the comics, but I kind of feel like I could have done without that. That was my big problem with the movie. Again, this is not an earth-shaking movie. This is not an earth-shattering movie. Great performance by Zachary Levi. Or Levi. I always get confused about that. You know, he really embodied Shazam, I thought. Yeah, again, it's like, it was just a good, serviceable film. It was a lot of fun. That's all, you know, and of course, you know, any film with a Queen song on the soundtrack can't be bad. So, yeah, that is my number 2. Number 2 is Shazam. I thought it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel. I really hope they do a good job with the sequel. Oh, we got another question in the chat with Hunter Iggy. Hunter says, have you heard they want to bring Chris Evans back as young Captain America? I think Iron Man 2, because DCEU is bringing back Robert Pattinson as Batman, the movie, in 2021. No, I haven't heard this. This is interesting. I think Chris Evans, or was it the Russos? I can't remember. I think one of them said that they're not closing the door on Captain America, that maybe something will happen with him in the future. As far as Iron Man's concerned, I'm not sure. I think they said that they might use Iron Man in some capacity as well, but I think it was something more like they're showing like footage of him in Black Widow. There'll be like a flashback scene of, I don't know what it was, Civil War, probably. And, like, it's stuff already shot, so it's not really new footage, you know? I think that's what they were saying. But I didn't hear, if they do want to bring them both back, Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., I'd be all for it, because I really love when they, you know, when they ended on a happy note. I mean, that's personal preference, you know? That's the way I like to do it. All right, so the first movie on the list, we got to wrap up here. We're going on close to an hour, but the number 1 movie that I saw this past year, gee, what's left? Let's see, there's not too many other movies left. Was it The Joker? No, actually, I didn't see the Joker. And again, I'm not going to go on a whole spiel for it, but you know, I don't think that doing the gritty, grounded Oscar bait type thing, that doesn't appeal to me. Comics are supposed to appeal to kids, and then making an R-rated movie out of a kid's character, I don't endorse it. But then what does that leave us? JT, tell us, what does that leave us for your #1 movie of the year? I can guarantee you I am the only person that has Dark Phoenix as their #1 movie of 2019. I guarantee you. If you have another YouTuber out there that said that Dark Phoenix was their favorite movie they'd seen this year, please leave me a comment and a link down below in the comments, because I would like to know. But I enjoyed this film. I am not going to pull your leg. This is legit. I like Dark Phoenix. It is not a flawless film. It is not even a great film, but I enjoyed it. And that's the barometer I use. Now, for instance, they reshot the whole ending of the film. And I always said, forget about the Snyder cut. I want the Kinberg cut. I want to see the way this movie was originally supposed to end. With supposedly, I guess, I don't know, Jean taking on the White House or something, with Charles and Scott trying to protect her or something. But what they gave us, I liked the insight that of the Dark Phoenix. This genuinely felt to me like the Dark Phoenix. Much more than the Dark Phoenix of the, what was it called, The Last Stand. I felt we really got the Dark Phoenix in this movie. Now, the movie itself didn't really, you know, it didn't tick all the boxes. I liked the way they brought Magneto back. Like, for instance, I think Apocalypse is the weakest of the X-Men movies, you know, barring the Wolverine films or Deadpool or whatever. Speaking of just the films that were, you know, Charles Xavier, Magneto, all that stuff, Apocalypse was the one that disappointed me the most. This film, it was like there was technical difficulties with it. You could tell there's a lot of places where things should have been fleshed out more, but they cut it short because of hasty editing and trying to get, you know, Disney approval to make sure this film didn't step on the toes of Captain Marvel or Avengers Endgame or whatever. But the performances were great. I thought Sophie Turner was marvelous, excellent. Of course, you've got heavy hitters like Michael Fassbender, for crying out loud. You've got James McAvoy, for my money, pound for pound, probably the best actor out there right now with McAvoy. You can't go wrong watching this film. So don't just buy all the hype that it's the hype that it's terrible. But again, like I said, it is a flawed movie. There is problems with it. There is a lot of stuff that it feels like it was taken out, truncated, moved around, and made just to be like a sort of an actioneer where they could have delved a little deeper into the psychology. I also don't like that they brought back that storyline of like, well, Charles did this in some way, is responsible for this because he tried to protect Jean from herself, and he's to blame for this manifesting. It's a lot of crap. Come on. It was supposed to be a foreign entity that just possessed her, and I think we got that in this film, but they still had that lingering thing because Kinberg wrote The Last Stand. He's got to have that with, well, we have Charles to blame for this, and that didn't sit well with me either. But the other cast, the other actors was also very good. I didn't like Nightcrawler killing. I think I must have mentioned that before. But apart from that, the rest of the cast did very well. Jennifer Lawrence, you know, again, talking about characters going out on their shield. She came back basically just to get killed because she wanted the hero's death in case they were going to make more films. Yeah, she did good. Not an Oscar-worthy performance, but she did well enough. It didn't look like she was having her arm twisted to be in it like she did in Apocalypse. So, yeah, this was my favorite movie of last year. I mean, hey, I'll take it on the chin if you guys don't like it and you think that Endgame should have been #1 or Joker should have been #1 or maybe even Shazam. Shazam, it has its fans. I know a lot of people at first kind of pooed the film, but I think a lot of people realize now that it was pretty darn good. All right, so that's about it. We're going to wrap it up now. Thank you for joining me for another Johnnie Torch Live program. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comment section. Be sure you hit like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got 114 subscribers now, and we are well on our way. And as I said, we have the review of The Rise of Skywalker coming up probably Wednesday, God willing. And make sure you check out some of the other videos I did the past couple of weeks, because you are missing out if you don't check out on them soon. So until next we meet, this is Johnnie Torch reminding you once again, keep the flame burning brightly, and I'll be with you again real soon. Go Pats!